Hi, Dolapo. I am Tsitsi Audrey, and I'm the host for You Can Rise Again. Thank you so much for agreeing to join me today to tell your story, which I believe is very powerful. I feel like it's going to touch a lot of people's lives and it's going to change lives. How are you today?
I'm very fine. It's a pleasure and a privilege being here today and sharing my story. So I'm very fine. I'm very well. What
That's
about you?
I'm really good. I'm good. I'm just so excited to have you on here. So I'm really doing well. So thank you so much for asking. Right. So I'm just gonna get into it. Right. So my first question to you, Dolapo, is who is Dolapo and how did you grow up? Where did you grow up? And how was childhood like for you?
Okay. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
Like you said, my name is Dolapo, but my surname is Mayowa.
Yeah.
I'm born into a Yoruba Nigerian family, and I come from a background that it's a polygamous background, not a monogamy background. And my dad married two wives aside my mom.
Mhm.
That makes it three wives, and I'm the first child of about eight, nine children. Though I everybody in my family, the children for my steps, mom, I still regard them as my siblings. But for my mom, we are just two, and I'm the first child of the whole family for my mom and also for my dad. And growing up, I did not grow up with my parents because when I was about 6, 7 years old, I can't really remember the exact age. My parents separated, and because of that, and they went to court, and it was just I and my siblings that we were with them. So the court declared that each couple take one child, and my dad took one child, my mom took the other. My mom took my siblings and my dad took me. And shortly after that, my dad tried to get married. And when he got married, my stepmom was very wicked. She maltreated me a lot. I went through a lot of pains in her hands that caused health challenges and all of that. And at a point, my grandma, which is my dad's mom, was quite worried, and she just felt like there's a way they can actually take me away from the woman. And my dad is a man that he just comes home during the weekend. He's hardly home
Yeah.
every week. It just sometimes it might seem like twice in a month, once in a month. So I'm always at home with my stepmom, which actually um resort to a lot of things. And at a particular time, I have a scar in my head, in the middle of my head, and she used her high heels to beat me to the extent that it actually entered my head. I was taken to the hospital. They have to stitch it up, all of that. So I went through a lot of things in her hands, and my grandma just saw that she does not think I can go on anymore with that kind of woman. And she they called the family meeting because my father is the last child of the family. So they called the family meeting. After that, they spoke to them, and my dad's elder brother decided to took me in, and so that I could live with them, and which was something that I really appreciated. So because of that, I grew up in I lived with my dad's elder brother for like 2 years. While I was living with my dad's elder brother, his wife too was very wicked.
Mm.
So during the time of living with her and my dad's elder brother, there's a lot of things they made me went through. There's a lot of things I went through as a child, regardless that I have the physical health challenge with my leg and all.
Yeah.
And they made me went through a lot of things. Then my one day my dad's elder brother just called my dad and said, I don't think your child can stay with me any longer because my wife is not tolerative.
Yeah.
Can she come back to you? And my dad said, okay, she can come back. So I returned back home. I was very bitter when I returned back home because I was like, I'm going back to this suffering. And I remember that my stepmom will keep, if we cook today and the food is in the house, she will keep the food for 3 days. She will not allow anybody to eat it. Then the third day, she will tell me to eat it. a food that is already spoiled and stolen. She will tell me to eat it, and I must eat it because she's going to sit with me with cane and tell me to eat the food. And
Wow.
she will intentionally keep spot food of 3 days just for me to eat. And I went through a lot of that. At a point, I think there was something that happened that actually broke the camel back, which is there was a particular time because she said she has a shop, she has a provision store, which I helped her to manage as a child. So there was a day I actually missold something to someone. I missold a particular product to someone. And
Mhm.
she beats me to the extent that two of my two of my front teeth actually broke. I
Wow.
was rushed to the hospital, and after that they called my dad's elder sister and my grandma. My grandma said, "This is enough. She cannot. I can't stay with her any longer." So I mean, grandma is very old. She's not somebody that is agile, but she lives alone. So that was how they told me to start living with my grandma. They helped me pack my stuff. I went back to my grandma. My dad was not even around when the whole thing happened.
Mm.
But when he came back, my grandma just called him and said, "If you're looking for your child, she's with me, and she's not coming back to the house." And that was how I was in with my grandma. I grew up with my grandma, and I think at a particular time, my sister too. She has to come back to live with us because apparently, where my mom took her to, she too they are maltreating her. So they
Mhm.
have to bring her back to my grandma. Both of us were living with my grandma. So until my grandma developed a health challenge and she couldn't live alone again. So because of that, we have to move to my elder sisters and my dad elder sister's house. That's my aunt's house. So
Mhm.
it was I was living with my aunt when the surgery happened for my leg.
Yeah.
So it was after I think it was 2 years after my surgery that I moved back to my dad's house. I left my dad's house when I was 8 years, 9 years old, around that range. I think in between, I used just about 3, 4 years with him. I left there and I went back when I was 17 years old.
Yeah.
So during the 10 years of my life, I was living from one sister's house to one relative house to one grandma's house, aunt's house to the one another before so that's a lot of things went into my childhood, but as far as I could remember, I did not think I have a favorable one. But I think when I got with my grandma, things actually changed a little bit because she adores me. She's still alive. She's 98 years old now. And she adores me. And so when I went back, when I was living with her, a lot of things changed for me and all until I have to move my aunt. My aunt too, she's a fantastic human being. I celebrated her birthday last week and she's a loving woman. She made sure that she showed me the love that I required from a mother and all of that. So I think it was after my mom, because my mom left when I was, the divorce happened and my mom left. And when she left, she came back when it was 1 year to my surgery.
Okay.
She left when I was 6 years old. Then she came back when I was 15.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
that was the time I saw my mother. I didn't see her for the past 10 years. Then she came back. So it was when she came back, and she wouldn't have even come back like stay. It was when they wanted to do my surgery, and they asked my stepmom if she could stay with me because it has to be a long journey of healing. And
Yeah.
she said, "I can't stay with her. I'm not the one that gave birth to her." So because of that, they have to call my mom and tell her to travel down wherever she is because she needs to come and stay with her child.
Yeah.
And that was when she came. She came a year before the year of the surgery. She came in 2014. She came to check me, brought some gifts. I couldn't even recognize her. Somebody has to say, "This is your mother." And the person said, "This is your child." And she was crying, "My life, see my child," and all of that. I was just looking like, where have you been all my life?
Mm.
And that was how we reconnected back a year after we did the surgery. And since then, I've had a relationship with my mom, though it's not that solid
Right.
because there are moments of my life that she missed, but then I still have a relationship. That's the little I can say about my childhood.
Okay, that's brilliant. Doing that. So I've got a question. So you spoke to us about what dance condition. When did it start? People about to the child.
Can you take that again? I couldn't get that.
I was asking about your discuss about
Okay.
tell us about it
Okay.
started.
Okay. I grew up with it, but I asked my mother when she came to being, because I don't really have conversation with my dad. I asked her when it all started, because as much as I can remember, when I came of age, I saw it. It was not something that I didn't see from the beginning. And she told me that I was not giving birth to like that. When I
Mm-hmm.
was giving birth to, I came in perfect health. There was nothing wrong with my legs. But she said when I was about 3 months old, the legs started changing form, then started turning. They were thinking, because my dad's elder brother that I said I lived with, he also has the same condition. But as he was growing, it actually changed. It was, the legs started straightening up, and he was able to stand very well and all of that. So they believe that my own is going to be like that. So they just, people just said, no, don't leave it, don't operate. If not, they would have done it when I was young. But it's because they would have done the surgery when I was young. But because people was telling them that, oh, she's going to be, I've seen people like that. Me, your dad's elder brother was like that, but his own is still. But you could see him, even as he is now, you could see traces like, oh, this man have a bold leg or something like that. But then so that was why they told them not to do it. And every one of my siblings, because they also have it when they were young. Because now I'm of age, I see my stepmom's children, whenever they give birth to them, about 6 months, 8 months old, they start having the condition. But whenever they start growing, like they increase in age, the legs just start changing. And you won't even notice now that they had something like that when they were young. So that was the case they thought is going to be with me. And it just didn't work out like the rest. So,
Okay, okay. How did this affect?
how did this how does it affect what?
How did it
How
affect?
did it affect?
I think there's an
I
echo
think it's an echo.
in the background.
Okay, I'm trying to get what you said, but there's a break in transaction. Can you come again?
So I was asking how this affected you when you were growing up.
Okay, how it affected me when I was growing up. I mean, there's nobody that's going to look like that, and they are not going to not love themselves. I did not love me when I was growing up. I did not love me. I did not see the beauty part of it, and I always wanted to see myself being like normal people, normal children, because I just feel like, why is mine different? And because of that, it restricted my friends circle and the people that I could relate with, because I can remember a lot of time I want to do some things. My parents say, oh, she can't do that because of her leg. Oh, she can't go here because of her leg. Oh, she can't do this because. So sometimes I feel like an invalid. I just feel like, why are they treating me like this? I could do things. So it's because of that. When I was growing, I was very rebellious. I
Mhm.
was very rebellious when I was going on that. What they said I should not do, I will climb fence with my legs. I will skip fence, do a lot of things. I will go to people's house. I will do rough play, jump staircase. Because I just, what they told me I can't do, because I just want to do it.
Mhm.
Because what's the worst that could happen? So when I was growing up, it actually restricted, firstly, it restricted my circle of friends and people that I could relate with. And it actually damage my self-esteem in a way, because I just feel like I could take, like I wrote in my LinkedIn story that when I was growing up, I believe I could take whatever that comes to me. I just believe that anything that comes, I should just settle for less, because I don't have the luxury to pick because of who I am. So I don't have the luxury to choose. I just have to take whatever the life gives to me, because I'm just not worthy. So I think it affected my mind, and it affected how I see myself. So
Mhm.
that's what I can say about that.
Okay. So do you feel like maybe your stepmom treated you the way she treated you because of your disability at the time, or it's something different?
No, no. I would have thought that, because there were some things that the story is kind of very big than what I said. There are some things that she said to me.
Mhm.
I can remember a particular time we were washing clothes outside, me, Hannah, and this woman told me, I told her that I'm thirsty, and she told me to drink the water that we're using to wash the clothes. That's what I can drink. I
What?
was about, she told me, she removed her shoe and told me that she's going to smack me with it if I do not drink the foamy water that we're using to wash clothes. I was about drinking it, then somebody came in and the person said, why are you doing this to this child? I can hear you from outside. She was like, I'm just playing with her, all of that. And I can remember a lot of time because we sleep in the same room. I sleep in their room with my dad. And I can remember a lot of time when I'm sleeping, she will come out when she wants to wake me up. She doesn't wake me with a tap. She wakes me with a pinch. That's how she wakes me up. She wakes me with a pinch. She pinch me and she start calling me witch. Yeah, because she did not give birth for a long period of time. So she always called me witch. I'm the one holding her womb and all of that. So I felt like because of the fact that she always called me witch, I felt like maybe because of my physical disability, that's why she called me witch. Because
Mhm.
it kind of looked like a witch.
Yeah.
But when my sister came, when they brought my sister from my mom's relative house, the first place they took her to was with my dad and my stepmom. And my
Mhm.
sister just used about 3 weeks, and she faced a lot of hell too. The woman did a lot of things to her. So that's when I knew that. And my sister is not like me. She doesn't have any physical disability. So
Mhm.
that's when I knew that this is not about my disability. This is just this woman is.
Mhm.
She's just like that. She just doesn't like us, our husband's children. She just doesn't fancy us. That is just her. So I just have to leave her. And I just want to put this out there. My
Mhm.
second stepmom, my dad married my second stepmom when I was in between my surgery. I think I already had the first surgery. My second stepmom was pregnant then in 2015. That was when my dad married her. And the woman has been a mother and a blessing to me. I'm even close to her more than my mom.
Yeah.
So she made me believe that some stepmoms are good.
Mhm.
My second stepmom is a mother. She can go to extra mile for me and my sister. If I call her and say, "Mommy, I need something," and she give birth to her own children. She has 5 kids, and she just be like, "Oh, your sister have not eaten." If I call her now and said, "Mommy, I'm in the hospital," she's going to rush down there.
Mhm.
My second stepmom, she's even the one that built the self-esteem in me to be able to stand up to my first stepmom because I was living in their house, me and my sister. Then she will do some things, soup that cockroaches died inside. She will give it to us to eat it. And my second stepmom will tell us, stand up to her. Tell her you can't eat it. You are in your father's house. And she taught us self-esteem. She taught us how to defend ourselves. So I'm just putting it out there that even though I faced trouble in the hand of my first stepmom, my second stepmom actually changed my perspective about stepmom. And I believe that it's just not we should paint stepmom bad. It's
Yeah.
just the fact that everybody have their own characteristics and how they are built up. So
Yeah.
I believe that my second stepmom is a good person.
Mhm.
And I also believe that because I'm a Christian, at the point when I became a Christian, I have to forgive my second stepmom. I went to her and I told her, I said, I forgive you for everything you did to me.
Mhm.
Even though I shouldn't forgive you, but I forgive her and I let you go. Now we are close. We are close of past. I celebrate her on her birthday. I go visit her in her house. I get stuff for her. She calls me, but there are boundaries. But now we are close. So I just feel like she's just the kind of person she is. It's not because of my physical disability.
Okay. Okay. And whilst this was going on, did you tell your father at some point that this is what you were going through, or?
He knows everything. He knows. Because there are some that he even sees with his own eyes. He knows everything. When my sister came to the house and my stepmom started maltreating her too, it was my father himself that brought my sister to my grandma's house. And he told my grandma that his wife is maltreating her and he cannot watch it. So that's why he has to bring her to my grandma's. So he knows what is happening. But because he already married her, she already gave birth, and he does not want to be, oh, I'm siding with my children too much, I'm siding with my wife too much. So sometimes she might even try to scold us when my stepmom did some things, and maybe at the back she will come back and meet us, get us in. I said, I'm sorry, I have to do like that, but I just want to do something to make the house to be. And sometimes it actually stood for us. Sometimes it just stood for us. And sometimes when we are having our argument, he's just not gonna look at anybody. He just pick his cloth and leave the house. So he knows. But I think from my own perspective, now that I've grown, I think he just doesn't know what to do then. He just doesn't know what to do. He knows that if he's going to side with us, it's going to cause trouble with him and his wife.
Yeah.
If he's going to stand with his wife, it's going to make us to see him as a bad father. So he just literally not do anything because he doesn't know what to do. And I think that's why my aunt and my grandma came in, because they are the one that have to be his voice
Mhm.
for us when he can't do anything. And I think he relies so much on them. So because he already know that they are always going to come to the rescue, he just doesn't do anything most of the time.
Mhm. Mhm. But for
So
you yourself, how did you feel when you noticed that your father was not really standing up for you? Because I mean, for what we believe that as parents, we're supposed to stand up for our children, regardless of whether
yeah,
we're married or not. That's my
yeah.
child. So how did that make you feel when you saw that your father was not doing anything?
Okay, so when I was growing up, I did not really like that, and I did not really like my father. I always believed that he's wicked and he loves my steps brother, because my second stepmom gave birth to a son. I always believe he loved him, favored him more than us, because of what he usually does for us. And but when I gave my admission for my second degree and I went to school, and I see a lot of things that my dad did for me when I was no longer in the house.
Mhm.
I was already in school, living in the school still, and I see a lot of things he does from afar. Then
Mhm.
I feel like now he has the capacity and temerity to do whatever I want to do, because I'm no longer where I can be in a competitive state with anybody. I'm in a space that if he does anything for me, the wife does not know. So
Mhm.
it does a lot, even more than my mother. If somebody asked me now that in between my mom, I even wrote it on my LinkedIn story about a particular time ago when I was celebrating his birthday. I said, if somebody asked me to pick in between my mom and my dad, who am I going to go with? I'm going to pick my dad. My
Okay.
dad is a mother, he's also a father. He did a lot for me and my younger sister. Even though to the point that now even his wife, they're always jealous of us. They be like, oh, whenever these children call, he's always come running, he's always going for them, he's always catering for them, he just want to do something. But the fact that I'm already a graduate, that sometimes my dad still send money to me, and sometimes he calls me, are you okay, are you fine? So I just believe that then I was in an environment that it does not have power,
Yeah.
so he couldn't do. And I believe, as a Christian and as a person that is trying to build a mindset, I believe every man should actually have a mentor that they
Mhm.
can run to when they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Even though they are a man, they are supposed to be a leader, but they also cry, they are also weak.
Yeah.
So they need to have somebody that they can turn to when they don't know what to do. I
Mhm.
believe my dad have a mentor or a spiritual father that I could talk to when we're in the house and that he doesn't know what to do. There could be a way he could navigate things, but there was nobody that could give him direction. His father was already late, and he is not in good time with his brothers and all of that. So, and when there was a particular time I asked for his stories, and he told me he has to work as a houseboy and all of this before he actually began to build his business, and he was able to raise to the ladder where he is today. And I knew that it was because there was no guardian that
Mhm.
could actually guide his steps. So in a way, when he's at the crossroad, he just doesn't do anything because he does not know what to do. So
Yeah.
it does not make me change. Me and my sister, before we don't like him, we
Mhm.
don't. We always feel like he favors everybody. We are not important to him. But when we actually left the house and we gained admission into school, we see the love he extended to us. We
Yeah.
see how he always cares for us. Then we not realize that why he was not much of a father then was because he was in an environment that he doesn't have so much power on
Yeah.
what happens. But when we left the house, it now feels like, oh, I can do whatever I want to do for my children now. Nobody's going to question me. I don't have to tell my wife. I can just do anything I want to do for them. So now I told somebody sometimes ago, I said, my dad is the one that taught me how to cook soup. And that was when I got into school. I
Yeah.
called him one day. I said, Daddy, I want to cook a particular soup. I don't know how to cook it. And he started explaining it to me. This is how to cook the soup. If I have any boyfriend or anybody proposed to me, I'm going to talk to him. There was somebody that proposed to me about 2 years ago. I talked to him. I said that this person proposed to me. And I didn't even tell my mom.
Mhm.
That is the relationship we have. So I think now I know better that then he does not have power. But now he has power. And what he has done now, I think he has actually made me forget how weak he was.
Mhm.
So I did not see him any less. He's a good father.
Yeah, that's really good. So talk to me about school. How did what did school look like for you? Because I was looking at your condition. That was quite a severe condition. Because I mean, I have seen people sometimes with both legs, and
Yeah,
it's like, I don't even know how to describe it. But for yours, because the legs were turning backward, like your feet
yes,
were like
yes,
backward, and
yeah,
it's quite severe. How was school like for you? And we know how school children can be like.
yeah. Okay. I know a lot of times that people in school would actually call me names.
Mhm.
They will make jest of me, mock me.
Mhm.
At a point, I always feel sad when they do that. When I get home, I'll tell my grandma, I started crying. But at the point where I got used to it and I just grow a thick skin for that. So when they say anything, I will just be like, do you want to be like me? And they just run away. They said, no, I don't run away. So I just go thick skin for it. And so whenever they are doing that, I just say, do you want to be like me? If you start mocking me, you're gonna be like me. It's going to jump on you, and they're just gonna run away.
Yeah.
But that was in primary school, and I thank God because God actually gave me some friends when I was in primary school. That
Mm.
because I'm somebody that I might not be very social, but I'm very expressive. I'm
Yeah.
an expressive human being, and when I was in school, when I was young in primary school, elementary school, I'm always the one that always come people together. I want to tell them a story. I want to tell them something. So because of that, people just generally move towards me because I have something. I always have something to say. I
Mhm.
always have something to tell them. So because of that, I have friends when I was in primary school. But then when I got to GSS one, because here we call it GSS one, GSS two. When I was in GSS two, that was when I went for my surgery.
Mhm.
And when I came back, I missed a whole year of school. So I have to repeat a class. I have to join my sister in a class because
Mhm.
my sister, I was supposed to senior her with a class, but because I was not around during that period, I have to repeat the class. Then we're in the same class together.
Mhm.
And when I was there, because most of the time I'm always on bandage because of the wound from the surgery and all of that. I think that was even the most challenging period of my life because we in our school uniform is very short, and most of the time this thing is on my leg, on the lower part of my leg, so people can see sometimes when the pus is dripping. They see it, sometimes it's smelling, and so they just don't want to move too close. So because of that, before they started moving back from me, I actually requested for my headmaster in school, my principal in school. I told her that if I could have a separate chair in the front for myself, nobody there, I just want to be there alone. And they granted the request. So
Mhm.
I was throughout the school period, I mean, throughout the point that I have the wound on my leg, I was the only one there. But when I got to the senior secondary school, which is the senior year, God just brought some friends into my life that loved me for who I was.
Mhm.
And because I'm not a better person, they love me for who I was then. And they just want to be with me because like I said, I'm very expressive. So there's a way I always get everybody in class together. I always tell them a story. If I
Yeah.
watch any movie at home, I will come to the school, tell my friends about it. So because I always tell a story, and there's a way I tell a story that is always so sweet, they just feel like, oh, this is lovely. So because of that, people move towards me. And
Mhm.
I have about three good friends when I was in senior year, and they just don't think about my leg. They don't really think about it. In fact, if anybody's mocking me, they're gonna stand to up to the person. I said, why are you mocking her? Why? So I think with school, God helped me that He brought some people my way. But then before actually the people started coming, I have to actually defend myself and create a system for myself that I do not become a burden to people. So it is
Mhm.
when people started seeing the value I could give, that's when they started coming to me. So
Okay, so
I think that
talking about the surgery, how many surgeries did you have, and what was that journey like for you? Because I know you mentioned to me, was it yesterday or the day before? You were talking to me about, that this was like the first ever surgery to be done, and you were sort
yeah.
of an experiment, really.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what was that journey like for you?
Okay, so the surgery was so when we went for the I think when we went for the first checkup, for the because we have been going for checkup for since I was 12 years old. We have been going for checkup. But anytime they want to do the surgery, because it's my first stepmom that goes with me, she will
Mhm.
say, "Oh, she's pregnant, she can't stay." So they will put it on hold. She will say she's this, she can't stay, they will put it on hold. So the last one we went to when I was 14 years old, that's 2 years later, then the doctor said, if you don't do this surgery now,
Yeah.
you might lose the window forever. You might
Yeah.
not be able to because now her bone would have been so strong that
Yeah.
it might not be easily corrected and we might face some challenges.
Mhm.
So when they told her that, and I talked to my aunt about it, then my aunt, because when they told her that, she still said she can't, my stepmom, she said she can't stay with me, that she's currently pregnant and she can't stay with anybody and all of that. So I went home, then I told my aunt and my grandma, and my aunt called my dad and she said, I want to see you. So when my dad got there, she told my dad there was a particular woman around my house that was living close to my aunt. She's handicapped. She's always on wheelchair, but she has given birth to three children. And she dresses. She's an hairstylist and all of that. That's what she does. Then, but this woman is always limited because of her physical disability. So my aunt made that illustration for my dad. And she said, with the way, because my leg is already turning backward, and she said, with the way this leg is going, by the time this girl is 17 years old, she will start using wheelchair or crutches to walk. Because this leg will not be able, it would have turned backward totally, and she will not be able to walk with it anymore. And she said, do you want your child to be confined to a wheelchair? Your first child, for that matter. I said, do you want your child to cost you forever in your life that with the money you have, you couldn't do anything about her? And my dad was like, no, I don't want her to cost me. And like, but what are we going to do? There's nobody to stay with her. Because my dad, till now, he hated my mom because of their divorce. He said it was my mom's fault.
Mhm.
So he does not want to see her. Because I learned later that my mom made several efforts to come back,
Yeah.
but to give us something to have a relationship with him. But my dad always shut her out. So he hated my mom. So when my dad said, "There's nobody to stay with her if we go for the surgery," and my dad's aunt told my dad and said, "Are you not going to put your differences aside to
Hmm.
give this girl a better future?" Than for you to than for people to ask her later in the future and say, why did your father leave you like this? And she says, it's because he doesn't like my mom. Is that even a good reason to deprive this girl of a better future? And my dad thought about it and he said, okay, but I'm not going to have anything to do with her. We are not going to sit together. We're not going to do this. I said, my aunt said, that is fine. You don't have to sit with her. She just have to take care of her child. That's all. And they called my mom. She came home. So we went in for this first surgery on the 24th of June, 2015. And when we were supposed to do the surgery on the 23rd, no, on the 21st. But when I got admitted, maybe because of I'm nervous or anxiety and stuff, I broke down and they can't do any surgery because I broke down with fever and all of that. They said they can't do any surgery until I'm perfectly fine. So when I was fine, about 3 days later, I was fine. So they said, oh, let's go for surgery. Then that's the first surgery they did. The surgery we started 10 a.m. and finished 7 p.m. And that was like 8 hours. That was how many hours they used for the surgery. And because the way they did it, at the first part of the surgery, I was sedated. Then the second part, they just gave me something that make me not to feel the pain.
Mhm.
So I could see them how they were moving, how they were taking because they actually use hammer. Because some people said they use hammer. Yes, they use it. And they were using it to break the bones because they actually I saw it they have to use hammers to break the bones. Then they started aligning everything. That was what they did. They used the hammer to break the
When
bones.
that was happening, what was going through your mind when you could see that?
I mean, I was under. I just did not feel any pain. I couldn't really think straight. So it was after I was done when I mean about 4 days later that I was telling my mom about it, and she was like, "Hammer," and she was telling me that she was hearing from outside the recovery room that they were saying, "Bring the hammer, bring the nail, bring the this, bring the bolts." She said she was hearing them. She was hearing. She said at a particular point when she had from the theater, she was hearing, "Bring the hammer," and she just started hearing, "Back, back, back." That's just like, what's going on? That's my child. And I said that was me, because they have to break all the bones they need to straighten up. They have to break it, and before they started doing the straightening up and all of that. And in between, they have to use bolts and some screwdriver to just fix it together so that it's going to stay in one place till it's heal up. And so the surgery took about 8 hours before we were done. And
Mm.
when we're done with the surgery, they wheel me to the recovery room and they wheel me to the ward. We went for X-ray. Then through the night, it was very, very horrible. The pain was very much, too much. And I can remember my mom was asking a nurse in the ward that, how's she feeling, the way she's doing, like, I don't understand the pain and all of that. And the nurse said that she has underwent a what's it called, a bone surgery before,
Yeah.
and she's a mother. So she was describing to my mom that a bone surgery is like the one I did. She said a bone surgery like mine is like a labor pain, a childbirth pain when you want to give birth. That's how the pain is. When she told my mom just broke down in tears. I said, "Hey, this 14 years old child, she's going through a labor pain right now."
Oh,
And the nurse said there's nothing you can do for her. And the nurse said something to her that they have actually done a surgery like mine about 3 months back. She said, but because of the pain, the lady couldn't pass through 8 hours and she died. And she was telling my mom that just pray that your child passed through the night with this pain, and this thing does not cause any side effect that's going to lead to her death. And
yeah.
she was like, oh God, don't let her die. There were a lot of prayer that was going on.
Yeah.
And third day, I was much relieved, and I
Mhm.
didn't die. So,
God.
so yeah, God came through. So I think about 5 days later, they were supposed to come and open the surgery site and look at it.
Mhm.
So they asking us to actually do, because I also studied in healthcare. My first degree, I studied healthcare management. So
Mhm.
after each surgery, a nurse is supposed to come in and do the dressing. They call it dry dressing. And when the nurse is doing it, the nurse is supposed to press the surgical site so that any pus or any water or any blood inside the surgical site could actually come out as water or as blood, so that it's not going to turn into anything. But the nurse that came, she was a very fashionista person. So she was just being delicate. She didn't want to touch it.
Mhm.
Then she just covered it up. Then about 4 days later, my mom just started smelling something, and she said something is smelling. I
Mhm.
can perceive a smell. Then at a point, she just put her nose towards my leg, and she said, "It's your leg that is smelling." So she called the doctor. They opened it. Lo and behold, tetanus had entered the leg, and the surgical site, everything has split open. It was a big wound, a big wound that if they are dressing it, they can dress it for an hour and people will just be hearing my shout. So I have to be something that I should be done with in a month. I have to be in the hospital, on the hospital bed for 92 days,
Wow.
because we have to. So because after that, they were like, oh, what can they do? They give me a particular injection every day to
Yeah.
actually kill the tetanus so that the wound can actually naturally heal up.
Mhm.
But it was not working. So they did a test. Then they realized that the surgical sites, the tissue there are dead. The skin tissue there are dead. So because of that, they have to do skin grafting, which is they move skin from my lap.
Mhm.
They cut some skin from my lap and put it on the surgical site to cover it up.
Wow.
And that was the second surgery. Because when they wanted to do the second surgery, they said, now that we are cutting a skin from our lap, we
Mm.
know that lap is very fatty,
Yeah.
and we pray that when we cut a skin from our lap, it's not going to turn into a big injury like the one on our leg.
Yeah.
So they were praying. They said my mom to start praying so that she's not going to. But lo and behold, the one on my lap did not turn to a big wound. It actually healed up quickly. So after they did the skin grafting, the left leg actually healed up, but the second leg did not heal up. The After they did this skin grafting, it still come out as a wound. We're seeing the wound came out to the extent that we're seeing bones outside. The skin has already rotten to the extent that we're seeing bones and we're seeing whitish something inside. And my mom said, "Is this a maggot?" I was like, it was a stretching period. I put in my LinkedIn post at a particular point, because in Nigerian we have some people we call babalawo, and those people that we call babalawo, they are herbalists that you can go to for spiritual help. So my
Mhm.
mom went to them. They told her she has to carry one sacrifice in the middle of the night so that the wound can heal up. She did that. My hands, they told her that she has to go to one mountain, one seven mountain, climb it, smash coconut on the floor so that my wound can just heal up. They did a lot of things. No, there was a particular time they actually told them that they have to bring the sacrifice into the hospital room to come and do some incantation on my head so that it can just. They did it, nothing changed. It was still no improvement. So this doctors just say maybe because of the bolts and the metal they put inside the bones, maybe that is what is making it not to heal up naturally. So they told my no before that they said that the bone there was no the blood was not flowing through the bones. So
Okay.
maybe that was why it's not healing up. So they told us that we are going to do another surgery, which is called bone drilling. They're going to drill a hole into the bone
Yeah.
so that blood can be coming out through the hole and
Okay.
can form a flesh that can heal up the wound. So we did the bone drilling surgery. After that, nothing happened. It was not still healing up. So they were like, okay, but and we're still seeing bone, we're still seeing the bone. So they were like, what can we do? So that was when they now thought, okay, maybe we should actually remove the metal inside. Maybe that is what is not making this thing to heal up. So we did another surgery. They opened it up, opened the bones up, remove all the metal that they used to couple the bones together, and they were expecting that it's going to heal up. After that's the fourth surgery, it still did not heal up. That's when they said maybe the bone is dead. So they totally removed the bone. They totally removed the bone and they confined me. But then they already discharged me. I was already, I mean, the fourth surgery, I was already discharged. I have to come from home to do it. And I stayed in the hospital for a couple of days before they discharged me. And I was receiving treatment from home because my mom said we can't stay there again. So at the fifth surgery too, I did it from home. So the fifth surgery too, they told us to come to the hospital. They said they have to remove the bone totally. Then when they remove the bone totally, I'm going to be on the hospital bed. I'm going to be confined to my bed for about 2 months so that the bone that they remove can grow back.
Okay.
Because if it does not grow back, I can't walk and move because they already removed the bone. They said the bone is dead. So they removed the bone. After removing the bone, they gave me some drugs, some injection that should keep to. I kept to it. Still, the wound did not heal up. It was still like that. So at this point, I already moved back to my. I said I live after the surgery. I live with my aunt for 2 years. So those 2 years they were doing the surgery. So at this point, when they did the last surgery, after the last surgery, I moved back to my dad's place. So
Mhm.
when I was there, because at this point already it's already 3 years in, I already know how to do wound dressing. So I don't go to the clinic anymore. I do my wound dressing myself. I did my surgical, everything that I want to do, I do it myself. And when I do all of those things, my dad will see me and said, "Why are you doing something this dirty inside the sitting room? Can't you go inside your room? We can't even eat where you're doing it." Because pus will literally be coming out, green pulses will be coming out when I'm doing my dressing. And after that, I did everything I could, and the wound was not healing up. So I just gave up. I was not going to the clinic again. I was not going for checkup again. I was already tired because the doctor already did everything they want to do. Because the last time I went to the clinic, they said, maybe we are going to do another major surgery on a lap, that they are going to correct it from my lap and down to my ankle, and that is going to confine me for another 6 months. And I just said, no, I've had enough. I'm not doing anymore. And they said, if you don't do it, the leg is going to turn back. It will start getting bold again. It will go and get bow and all of that. You will not. I said, I am not doing anything. I don't want to do it. And they said, okay. So at this point, I was carrying my wound on my leg. Anywhere I go, I'm always with the wound. And at the point, my mom was ashamed the fact that I could go anywhere with a bandage that is smelling and all of that. So she got me a piece of skin leggies and all of that that I could wear that could actually be like it's my skin, but it's not going to show people the
Yeah.
wound inside. So and because my parents, they don't really go to church and all of that. So in between that period, there was a particular church my grandma usually goes to, and they told her that they usually do revival stuff like that, crusade and all of that. So I started going to vigils. I go to vigils, go to churches just for healing to happen on the wound. I
Mhm.
go to churches as a young girl. I was 17, 16, 17. I was 17 years old. 17 years old around that time. So I go to churches, go to vigils, go to everywhere I could go just so the wound could heal up. So somebody invited me, my grandma invited me to a particular crusade. And I remember going there and I told God that because I've watched this in movies where somebody pledged a covenant to God and he said, if you do this for me, I'm going to do this for you. So I was like, okay. I think since I've tried everything, we have carried sacrifice, we have carried everything we could do. We have went to a lot of churches. I went to vigils, I went to crusade. Healing was not coming. And
Yeah.
I said, maybe I can try this one. So when I was going to the crusade, I told God, I said, if I go to this crusade and you're able to heal me from this wound,
Yeah.
I'm going to serve you all my life. I
Mm.
was a child. I didn't know what I was saying. I was just 17. I was like, I'm going to serve you all my life. And I was like, okay. I went there. The crusade was going on. I remember that I fell under the power of the Holy Ghost.
Yeah.
And after that, when I got home, few days later, I wanted to do my wound dressing. And something just told me not to cover it,
Mhm.
not to put bandages, gauze, cotton wool, not to put anything. And I was
Mhm.
like, naturally, if I put bandage, green pus usually comes out, that it will be showing from the bandage that there is a pus coming out. If I do not put anything, it's going to be dripping.
Yeah.
So I just felt that something told me not to cover it. So I didn't cover it. And I was going to school with it. And people would tell me, your leg is dripping. I said, oh, thank you. I just bring out a cotton wool, clean it, leave it. As my mom, when I told my mom, she said, do you want the tetanus to enter it? And it will start. I said, I felt not to close it.
Yeah.
So I didn't close it. People will still see me outside and said, your leg is dripping. I will still clean it, but I didn't close it.
Mhm.
I think about few weeks later, I did not remember. I was not paying attention to it again. Then my brother just told me, I said, your leg has closed up. Like there's no, your skin is already closed up. There's no wound on your leg anymore. And I
Wow.
checked it and there was nothing there anymore. And I was like, what? I called my mom. I said, my leg is healed. I'm healed. There's no wound on my leg anymore. And she said, when did you notice? I said, I did not even know. I just stopped closing it and I just stopped dressing it up and I just leave it. That whatever wants to happen should happen. I said, I just felt that thing to leave it. And I didn't use anything on it. Something that we have been for the past 3 years, we have been using a lot of things, using drugs, injection, anything, name it, we've been doing it, and there was no healing. Then something told me not to use anything, not to cover it, not to dress it up, just leave it open. So that is when me believing in the power of Jesus actually started from, because I was just like, if we have been trying our best, we have been trying our efforts, and healing was not coming, then somebody come on the scene and said, don't do anything,
Mm.
don't lift a finger, and he did something. Is it not worth listening to? Is it not worth following?
Wow. Wow.
Even at that time, I still didn't follow Jesus. Even though I told him I'm going to follow him, I didn't follow him. For 2 years, I didn't go to church. I was just living, I was just enjoying my freedom that I could wear anything I want to wear. So I was not going to church. I was not, until God actually arrested my heart again. I met someone, and the person just brought me back to Christ, when my soul was back, and the rest is history now.
Oh my goodness. So was there any point in your life when you were having all these surgeries and they said, they've done everything? Were you ever afraid of losing your leg?
Ah, that's another part of the story. Yes. There was a particular, I think when I did my second surgery, because I was on cast, when I
Mhm.
did my second surgery, there was something they told me to start doing. My toes, they told me to start exercising them. But because the pain was too much, I was not exercising it. So a
Mm.
particular time came, the tones were not working.
Oh.
So blood were not flowing to it. Then my vein, the vein that is connecting from my knee to the toes, got
Yeah.
damaged during the surgery. That's another thing that got complicated during the surgery. So and they couldn't repair it. So if I'm scratching my toes, I can't feel it. I can't move my toes. I can't lift my toes up, my right toes to be precise. And I can't scratch my toes and I'm going to feel like I'm scratching it. I was literally be scratching and I won't feel it that I'm scratching anything.
Mm.
So they said, even till now, my right leg, I can't bend it. There's
Mm.
one of the complications that happened. They said if I want to be able to bend it, I have to, yeah, I can't kneel down, I can't bend down because of the complication that arise. If I want to bend the second leg, I will have to go for another surgery for that. And I said, anytime I want, at least I could still walk, I could still move around. It's just I can't bend down and I can't kneel down, and that is still okay. So at that time, I couldn't. There was no blood flowing to the toes because the vein that got damaged and the tissue that got damaged,
Mhm.
and they the toes. They have to amputate the toes. And when they told me, I was crying, telling my mom, "No, you can't amputate my toes."
Oh.
At a particular time, I told my mom, I said, I'm tired. What kind of life is this? I'm just a young girl. What kind of life? I was crying. She was crying on the hospital bed. My mom was crying. I was crying. She was begging me, stop crying. If you start crying, what should I do? I was just crying. I said, what kind of life is this? They want to cut my toes. This one, I'm still fighting for it.
Yeah.
Then the toes. I said, no. Then I remember there was one Sunday, there are Christians that comes to the ward on
Yeah.
Sundays to preach for 1 hour. Then
Mm.
a particular man of God came, and the man came to visit. He actually came to visit a relative.
Yeah.
Then he just came to my bed and said, "The word of God, God told have a message for me." And he said, before you have a bow leg that was very
Mm.
bowed. And this man does not know me from anywhere. So when he told us that you have a bow leg before the surgery, my
Mm.
mom was like, "Oh, you're ready to listen to you. Seems you know something." And he said, the Lord said I should tell you that you are like a tree. You are going to be cut, but you are going to always bud again.
Mm.
you are your leaf will always sprung out, your leaves will always come out. If you knock down in life, even after this, if you get knocked down in life, you will always come alive again. Without water, God is going to pour rain that is going to make your leaf to uproot, to be out again. So
Mm.
when he said that, it kind of gave me some courage.
Yeah.
So after that, I told my mom that, can my mom get me a phone
Mhm.
that has like an earpiece?
Mm.
I told my mom, I said, I want to dance.
Yeah.
I want to be happy. Then I did. Then now I know what I did then was an act of faith. Like
Amen.
for you to receive the word of testimony, and without saying it, you started jubilating on it.
Yeah.
But then I was not a Christian. I was just acting on impulse that a man of God came, gave me a word down when I was in my trouble. I should be happy. So my mom got me a phone and I was listening to song. I was dancing. I danced for like an hour on the bed. I couldn't move, but I was shaking my body however I could shake it.
Yeah.
And after the whole stuff, the doctor came back. They said, we have checked these toes. It's just one that is not working. If she knows that she can live with it, that she can live with one toe, and it's the bigger toe. I said she can live with one toe that is not working, the rest are working. We might not do the surgery. And I
Mm.
told mama, I said, I can live with it. I can live with the one toe not working. I can live with it. The rest is working. So they did not amputate the leg. But now to the glory of God, about 4 years ago, I'm a Christian. It's not about 3 years ago, I
Mm.
met the power of God, and the toast that was not working for 7 years started working, and the
Wow.
toast is already working now.
Wow.
So thank God I did not say they should amputate it now. I
Yeah.
didn't know that God could actually heal it again. The thought started working now, and the toes is working. I can move it. I can. So that particular period of time when they gave us that news about my toes, and I was very tired, and they said they want to amputate it. I just had enough. So I
Okay.
hope that answered the question.
It has. It has. So, okay. So now I want to get to this stage now where you shared your story. You shared your story on a platform, that's got like millions of people. Yeah. So what pushed you to share your story? Because I know you were telling me that you were so ashamed of yourself sometimes. You didn't want people to see your life.
Yeah.
And so what is it that
Yeah.
pushed you to share that story? Because that's a very huge move for you to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What pushed
Yeah. Okay, before every year for I think since 2022 or 2022, yeah,
you? Yeah.
since 2022, every June 24th of every year, I always share the story on my WhatsApp status.
Mhm.
So, and you know, WhatsApp status is just family, friends, people that you gave your contact to, and all. I am somebody that is always very conscious on people that I give my contact to, my WhatsApp contact to, because of what I share there. There are some wins in my life that I share on my WhatsApp status that people outside the world does not know.
Mhm.
I think recently somebody met me on LinkedIn, and I was trying to tell the person that I currently run a brand that manage people social media accounts, content and content creation, video editing. And we started the brand last year, and we have like about some people that were working with the brand. And I said I didn't share it on LinkedIn. Nobody even on LinkedIn knows that.
Mhm.
Everybody on LinkedIn sees like I'm looking that I'm just among. And I said why people on WhatsApp they know.
Yeah.
So my WhatsApp circle is always very personal to me.
Yeah.
So that is where I share every year, every June 24th of every year since 2022, I share my picture of
Mhm.
the surgery. My people have even advised me that I should write a book because of the healing that went into it and all of that. And I said, no, I don't know why I write the book and all of that. And I said, I'm not yet, I don't have it in my spirit yet to start that. So I'm just gonna leave it till I'm very sure in my spirit that I should move. So I've been sharing it on WhatsApp. People on WhatsApp have been knowing it for the past 4 years or 2 years, 4 years now. But this year that I tried to take it to Facebook and LinkedIn, I think I've just gotten to the point that God, uh, like I said, when I met Jesus, I was a lady that was broken. I
Mhm.
was a lady that have a low self-esteem. I was a lady that came from a broken home. I was a lady that was starved of love. In fact, the person that introduced me to Christ, I thought he wanted to ask me out the
Yeah.
first time he met me. And he was a married man.
Yeah.
And I was ready. I was ready to say yes to him because I came from a home that I was starved with love. So somebody showed me love and attention. I was ready to give him a chance.
Mhm.
I didn't know he was a pastor. He was just trying to bring me to Christ. He was just using
Yeah.
that way to bring me to Christ. And I can remember that when after I came to Christ, the man always have counseling section with me twice in a week in his office. And he will speak like I think about a few days ago I shared it on my status my church that I attend what they did in my life.
Mhm.
And I said, when I was doing the surgery and all of that, because of the complication that the surgery caused on my second leg, there's a way I walk that is not looking nice. So a particular period of time when I started healing, they told me that I should try to master a walking style that I'm going to continue using. So while I was mastering it, my sister, that was my aunt's daughter, she was telling me, "You don't even know how you look. You look so very bad. You look so very this." So I come from a home that they sow a bad word into my life and into my heart. There was a lot of time my aunt, as much as she's a good person, there was a lot of time that she has gotten angry. She has called me crippled, lame. Why
Mhm.
did you sit like this? You can who is going to marry you? Anybody that comes to ask you as you better. So I come from a home that they have spoken dead words into me, and it has crippled, not only crippled me physically, it has crippled my mind,
Yeah.
limits my mind. So when I got to my church is a very expressive church and explosive church.
Yeah.
So they took me through a lot of series of counseling. They pitched me with a mentor, somebody that talks to me, that talks to me about my career. I can remember a lot of time that my pastor, my spiritual father, will come into his office and said, "I am proud of you. You are going to be great. You
Yeah.
are going to be great. You are going to make me proud. I know you are going to be a smart woman. You are going to be a great woman. I'm counting on you. The world is on your shoulder." It will just be speaking life into me. Sometimes I will be in church. Somebody will tell me, "You are so beautiful. You have a beautiful smile." I'll just be like, "Oh, what? Did you see my leg? You said I'm beautiful." But they keep saying those words to me, and so all of that. So in my church, during those time, during those years, the word started building me up,
Yeah.
started building my self-esteem, as to be expressive. If you knew me 3 years ago before I became a Christian, you will never knew I could talk like this. I don't talk because there's a way they have actually shut my voice, that from home, with what I faced for my stepmom, the healing part, and when I was going through my healing process, what people said to me. So anytime I'm in a place I don't want to talk, I don't want to say. You can imagine somebody being expressive like this, and she doesn't talk. So when I come get to my church, my spiritual father tells me that you are a talking being.
Mhm.
God made you a talking being for a reason, and you are going to talk.
Yeah.
So he will start speaking life into me and all of that. Sometimes he will tell me, give the mic to her, let her lead the prayer, let
Yeah.
her lead this. Let her, at a point, they made me the evangelism coordinator for our youth church. They said, I told him, I said, I can't do it. What do you want to make me? They said, you can do it. I don't want to hear anything. And so they actually have built that in me, to the extent that I started to be bold,
Yeah.
very confident in myself.
Mhm.
So this year, when I decided to take the story to LinkedIn and Facebook, I just thought to myself that, like I said, I did not do it to actually encourage people. I actually did it for myself. I got to a point that I said, because I think, to be very real with you, I got to a point that I started. I think there was somebody that actually influenced this decision. I met a guy, a friend. I met him to a seminar, an online seminar, and he's very expressive, very explosive, and all of that. Then we started getting close, but I did not tell him that
Mhm.
this is my physical, how I look physically. But this guy is somebody that talks to me every time and then. And I just thought, I owe with this person showed me goodness. I owe you this explanation.
Yeah.
But I was very scared to tell him. I said, what? Because I've been in a relationship before that most of the people I've dated, they didn't see me physically when we met. There may be when we started dating, we saw each other, or I tell them before we saw each other. Then when they saw me, they started changing their attitude and all of that. So it has kind of made me not to tell people when I meet them. So
Yeah.
when this guy came, I said, I don't want to tell him. What if I tell him and he change? He
Mhm.
stopped talking to me. He sees me different. He sees me that. Then I said, I need to break away from this fear,
Yeah.
to break away from it. Anybody, because if I'm hiding it for him, eventually he's going to see me.
Yeah.
Is it not better for him to already have a picture image of me before he sees me physically, than for him to have another perception of me? Then he sees me physically, he's seeing something else.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need to actually put it out there for people to actually see Dolapo for who Dolapo is. To see the lady, the beautiful lady that they always see on portrait picture, to
Yeah.
see her, oh, it
Yeah.
is okay for them to see me, oh, and love me for me, and choose whether they want to be with me or not
Yeah.
when they see me, than for them not to see me, and when they actually see me, they
Yeah.
decided not to see me again. So I was like, I think I need to break away from the fear. I need to. In fact, when I was posting this on LinkedIn, I took a lot of deep breaths. I was like, what are we going to say? What am I going to say about it? Are we going to say? In fact,
And
when I post, when I posted it, I was like, don't post it, don't post it, post it. At the point, I just closed my eyes and I just said, I'm going to post it.
yeah.
And I posted, and I realized a few minutes after I posted, nobody said anything, nobody reacted. I said, I knew it. So I just like, I'm just gonna leave it there. So I
Mhm.
left it there, and I went to sleep that day. And I think about, I on my data, I put on my data about a few hours later, and I was just hearing a lot of notification from LinkedIn. I was like, what's going on? And I went to check. I just like seen a lot of things. I said, what? No, people are going to see it in a beautiful way. So I was like, wow. So
Yeah.
I've been sharing it on WhatsApp before, but I just have to break free from the fear of saying, are
Mhm.
people going to love me if they see the real me?
Yeah.
I think it is based on the fact that I want to impress people.
Yeah.
I want them to see me as a kind of person that I'm not. And I just realized that it is time to be who I am. Who is going to stay is going to stay. Who's not going to stay is not going to stay.
Mhm.
With the way I am, I have people that are my physical friends. They are my ride or die. We
Yeah.
met in school. They saw me like this, and they are with me to today.
Yeah.
They are like my They are guys. About two of them are guys. Anytime I travel to their states, they're always looking forward. Why are you coming? Are you coming? And when I'm around, they say, we want to take you out. We want to do this. Even with the way I am, they
Yeah.
always tell me, you're so beautiful. You're so this. They don't look at my leg.
Yeah.
And the way, and so I was like, if those people could do it, I believe other people should also do it, because now they see my value and they know me for who I am. So it's like, what's the worst thing that can happen?
Yeah.
So let me just break free from the fear of the fact that people are going to reject me. They see the real me. So
Yeah.
let me just break free from that. And that was why I posted it. Even if nobody actually reacted to the story or loved the story, I think what God wants to do by taking that fear away from me would have done it
Amen.
regardless. Because now I have put it out there,
Yes.
whatever wants to happen. Because I have a lot of people that ask me out on LinkedIn, on Facebook.
Mhm.
That's part of the reason I said, let me put it out there. If I put it out there, I want to see if people just want to continue asking me out.
Yeah.
And to my shock, some of them are to call me. Because- so that's why I have to post it.
So a word of encouragement. What can you say to someone out there who probably saw your story on LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever, who is struggling? How can you encourage that person? What do you have to say to encourage them?
Okay, so this one, it might sound cliche, or not sound or not be what people are going to expect. But what I'm going to say is that if you want to have a real courage, you want to have a solid courage as an individual, you need to have God.
Yeah.
To be honest, you got to know Jesus.
Mm.
You have to know him, because to the glory of God, my sister also got born again
Mm.
about 2 years ago. And when she got born again too, she understand what I'm talking about. She
Mm.
understand the peace that comes
Yeah.
with it. There are some struggles that I'm going through in my life at the moment, and because of the fact that I have Jesus,
Mm.
sometimes things are not going well. I'm dancing, I'm happy, I'm expressive, and a normal person will just be like, "What's wrong with this one? What I mean, things are not going well. Things are turning bad." And it just teaches us what it just confirms what Jesus did when the storm was when they were on the boat and
Yeah.
the storm was going on. He was sleeping, so he knew that there was a storm going on, but he was sleeping. He was at rest. He was at peace.
Mhm.
I was at peace. It was like, no, nothing is gonna happen.
Yeah.
And why? Because I am with you and you have faith. So I'm gonna say to anybody that needs courage, or they want to build their courage, the person that can give you a courage that nobody can take away from you, including the devil, is
Yeah.
God.
Amen. Yeah.
Because you're going to get to a point in your life, even if you said you want to build courage, maybe you want to read books online, which is good. You want to read books, you want to watch movies, you want to listen to motivational speakers and all of that to get courage. They are good, they can give you, but it's not sustainable, because
Mhm.
you're going to get to a particular period of time in your life that what what people are saying is not going to sound real to you. It's going to sound like a lie, because what is happening, what is your reality is different from what they are saying. I
Mm.
mean, what do you want to say to somebody that her husband died and she
Yeah.
can see the corpse? And they buried the guy, he didn't wake up. What do you want to say to what motivational words do you want to say to the person that is going to make the person to see, oh,
Yeah.
but when Jesus is on the scene, there's a way he makes the things that are not sensible to be sensible, things that do not make sense to make sense. You just thought that a woman, that there was somebody around me recently, her husband died, and they just got married, they are not giving birth, and they are Christians. And when the first day she was crying, she was questioning God, and she was saying, and I serve you, I followed you. I listened to you. Why did you allow my husband to die? We both served. In fact, the day the husband died, they were coming from church. I was
Mhm.
like, why did you allow him to die?
Mm.
Then after about 1 or 2 weeks later, she started saying, God, you know the best. And I
Yeah.
decided to give the will to you.
Yeah.
You know why this happened. You have a good thought for me. Everything worked together. That does not make sense. To
Mm.
a normal person that does not have Jesus, it does not make sense. It does not make sense. I mean, she's supposed to be money, and she's thanking God that God, this stormy part, I choose. I don't understand it, but I choose to allow you.
Mhm.
I choose to give you thanks, and I choose to honor you.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, you understand what is going on. I don't understand the whole future. So anybody that needs courage because of things that happen in our life and all of that, we need to actually get to Jesus.
Yeah.
That's why we are going to get the courage that we need. That's why we can have solid courage. I cannot explain it how it comes,
Mhm.
because I'm not going to lie to you. Even after I finished school, there are things that I faced, regardless of physical disability. There are things I faced financially, emotionally, academically, that it could have crushed me.
Mm.
It could have crushed me, and a lot of things. Even and God was the one that just gave me the courage to pick myself up again.
Mm.
Nobody told me. No, I think there was a particular time that things. My sister was, because a particular time was about 2 years ago. My sister was living with me, and when she was living with me, she was doing some business, and some people scammed her, and they took the money. We tried to get her a loan. She started again. The second day, they scam her again.
Mm.
We tried to get another money. They did the same thing again. Then she committed suicide,
Oh,
attempted suicide. She
okay.
drank sniper. Thank God I was able to smell it from my mouth. We rushed her to the hospital. And at that period of my life too, I was going through some financial struggle.
Yeah.
So at that point, there is nobody, there's not, in fact, I just sent a message to my spiritual father. I said, I'm no longer, I don't want to have a relationship with Jesus anymore. This is not working out. I
Yeah.
mean, I couldn't be up there and all this is happening and he's not doing anything about it. I said, I am done. I
Mm.
don't want to talk to him anymore. He should stay in heaven. Let me stay on earth. And I told him, I said, nobody should invite me to church. Nobody should talk to me about Jesus. And
Yeah.
I just, and my spiritual father called me and said, can you wait for me? I'm not around at the moment. Can you wait for me before you take any drastic decision? I said, no, I've already taken it. And I locked myself in my house. I didn't go to church. I didn't go anywhere. But I remember that about 4 days into my, and I was living my life. I was just sitting, sleeping, waking up. I was not even praying, reading my Bible. I said, I'm not doing anymore. Then I can remember that I was just watching movies on YouTube. I just stumbled on a 10 minutes something from someone. The
Mhm.
person was just talking about I think the person was actually singing and praying. And when the person was singing and praying, I just like, maybe I can just sing a little to Jesus, even though I don't want to have anything to do with him. But let me just sing a little. And I started singing, and I sang for 2 hours stretch.
Wow.
I I sprang from night into the midnight. And before I know it, I started praying and I started confessing life into my life. I started confessing the word of God. I started confessing the love of God. And before you know it, I'm back on track. What kind of courage is that? Nobody spoke to me. I shut everybody out. So what if you shut people out? There's no motivational speaker, there's no books, there's what is going to pick you up? It is the invisible one that is always visible everywhere. Is the one that can come and speak to your soul. Somebody that is invisible but is always visible, is always present. So it's the one that can come and speak life to you and come and pick you up again. So I think the solid courage that anybody could ever actually ever have is having Jesus, because that is where it started from. My courage today and in the nearest future is going to be from Jesus. It's
Amen.
going to be from Jesus.
Amen. Amen.
Edith.
Thank you so much for that. And it's so important to note that, even if sometimes we reject God or because of disappointment in our lives,
Yeah.
God always has a way of reaching us where we are. You know, God's
Yeah.
God's love never fails. He always the word
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
nothing can separate us from the love of God. Even our discouragement,
Yes. Yes.
our struggles, whatever it is that
Yes.
happens in our lives, nothing can separate
Nothing.
God. He
Nothing.
has a way of getting to us. So I
Yeah.
really thank you for sharing that part. So, okay, so now where can people reach you? What is Dolapo up to now? What do you do? And where can people reach you?
Okay, people can reach me on Facebook, and it's the same name I use on all platform. People can reach me on LinkedIn, on WhatsApp. I don't know, WhatsApp is not, it's off limits. It's for my family members. But people can reach me on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, even
Mhm.
on TikTok. The name is constant.
Okay.
Mayowa Dolapo Mayowa is constant. And what I do is that I'm a social media manager, I'm a virtual assistant, and also I'm a writer. I write books for people, articles, script writing for movies, I write those, and I have written books for movies and all of that before. And also, currently, that is what I'm up to. And also, I'm a mentor because I belong to a society. We call it Destiny Coach Network. And what we do is that we go to schools to speak life into children's life, teenagers, students. We call it destiny chats. We talk
Okay.
to them about what they should do, how to catch a vision, how to reparent themselves when their parents let them down, how to pick up themselves again. And we go there once, twice, or once in a month to do that. And other things, I'm involved in ministry, media, anything like that. But the work that I do as a career, I'm a writer, I'm a virtual assistant, I'm a social media manager, and a community manager.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much for sharing your powerful story, Dolapo. I'm really encouraged, and I believe that someone somewhere is going to be encouraged by your story because you have gone through so much from childhood until now. From family dynamics, being in a polygamous family as well, things like that.
Yeah.
That's quite a lot for a child to go through, and having also to face the challenges with the disability. We thank God that God has healed you now. You managed to get those surgeries,
Yeah.
whereas some people are not even able, or maybe it was too late for them to get those surgeries. We thank God for what God has done
Yeah.
in life, and I pray that God is going to
Yeah.
continue to use you, using your story.
Amen.
So thank you so much,
Amen.
and hopefully
Amen.
we'll speak to you soonest. Okay.
It's a pleasure to be here. Like I said earlier, like I said a few days ago, what you're doing is a great work. You're doing a very fantastic work because I think I was sharing it in my in the LinkedIn post that one day I'm gonna do maybe a video or a book on my story. And I think since I've been sharing the stories since 2022, I've never shared it so raw like this.
Mhm.
Like some people knows about my family background, some people does not know about my surgeries, some people knows about my surgeries, some people does not know about my family background. But this is a platform that you gave me to be able to share everything in depth, and to be able to also encourage people. And this is a great thing that you're doing, giving people voice and giving people because I'm very sure if I can't say I want to do a video about this in the longest time. I might not even do it, or might not even, maybe few years, might not even be very now. But you doing this with me is actually a great challenge for me, that I shouldn't stop telling the story. It can never get old. There is always another dimension that is going to encourage people, and you're giving people a voice, and you're also giving people out there that are going to be watching this courage. People that are going to hear stories about my childhood, maybe people that are currently their stepmoms too, or their families too. They might not even have any physical disability, but they are currently in a home that is not healthy. But if they hear the story, they will know they are not alone, and they will also know that if I could turn out good, if I could be a better version of myself, they can actually be better. They can be best, even wherever they are coming from, wherever they may be. So this is a beautiful thing that you're doing, and I want to say kudos to you. And even though even though it might not be looking like a lot of engagement will come, this is a beautiful thing. Well done, well
Oh,
done.
thank you so much. Thank you. Well, that's all we've got for today. If you enjoyed today's episode, just hit the subscribe button and the notification bell for future content and future episodes. And you can also catch us on Facebook or Instagram at You Can Rise Again. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, you can rise again. Until the next time, bye.